Welcome everyone to another episode of Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for ... And I'm Kirk Buckner. I run NotInHallOfFame.com and the United States Athletics Hall of Fame. Look for big news on that coming soon. And one of the people part of that is obviously the leader of Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for, because you can't have a show called Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for without a Vinny. So not my cousin Vinny, but it's my friend Vinny Lospinuso out in Long Island. And Vin, you've got a really good one here today. We're going back to the gridiron and to, I guess, my coast, since I live in Seattle now, where we're looking at Eddie Meador, a very, very, very important defensive back for the Rams, Los Angeles Rams in the 60s, who I don't want to say has been forgotten, because in recent years, he's making a bit of a case in terms of the senior committee. But first off, is this a request? Is this why Eddie? Why are we talking about him today?
I want to give this request for someone who I made a case for.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Gabriel, before he died, mentioned on Twitter how phenomenal Meador was as a player, as a person, as a friend, and that he mentioned how everyone talks about how great how great the Rams
Mm-hmm.
defensive line was, but not enough credit goes how great their defensive backcourt was. And he mentioned how Meador was the focal point as that. And I completely agree with that. Absolutely. He was a phenomenal corner and a great safety. He played corner in the first.
Safety.
Yeah, he was both. Meador was a corner and a safety.
Yeah. Yeah. From 59 to 70, career Ram, which obviously sort of helps anyone's candidacy when you're associated with one team. It's a lot harder for any hall when you're bouncing from team to team to team. Lofton, Kenny, in terms of, is the first one that sort of comes to mind. And
Yeah.
I think you hit a very big point. I think one of the things that hurts Eddie very much is when you think of the Rams defense of the 60s, it's that fearsome foursome. It's Deacon Jones,
Merlin Olsen, yeah.
Merlin Olsen, right? I mean, both of them, especially Merlin Olsen, he became an actor in the 70s. Deacon Jones, probably still to this day, my favorite Brady Bunch episode.
When you think Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen were two pretty really significant people that have still impacted professional football to this very day.
Right.
Merlin Olsen, for a long time, having the record for Pro Bowls and was a great broadcaster. Deacon Jones, like when you think of sacks, Deacon Jones was the king of sacks. He's the guy that coined the term sack.
Right. But if you got past them, you weren't getting much further.
Nope.
And, this is like one of those great players, too. And I wonder this a lot, if the people ahead of him, as great as they were, impacted him in terms of his Hall of Fame legacy. The Rams recognized him as their defensive back of the year. Was it 6, 7 times?
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7 times. It was many. He was their best defensive backs. In 7 times, he was named that.
Right. 6 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, 2 second-team All-Pros. As you mentioned earlier, started as corner, had most of his success as a safety in the second half.
He was even better safety. He was a great corner in his second year, but he was an even better safety, easily.
Here's what I'm fascinated a lot about. I mean, he holds the franchise record for interceptions with 46.
Still, it's just like how Roman Gabriel still leads the team in passing yards and passing touchdowns despite being retired for 50. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Still to this very day, which is incredible. Like, again, 2 legends from the
Jim
same
Everett
team.
couldn't do it, huh?
Yeah, like I said, I've always been saying this in the past. People talk about the Raiders in terms of their historical significance, the Packers or the Bears, but I would go as far as say the Rams, the most significant NFL team that no one talks about in terms of their significance. And I would go as far as say that the Rams
Probably
probably the
because they
most amount of,
moved.
well, they moved through 4 times actually,
Yeah, yeah.
and also their fan base is not as loud as like Raiders fans or as pronounced, but the Rams themselves, I would go as far as say they're probably the most out of every team in the NFL. I think they've been snubbed. I think they have the most deserving snubs. I really do.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
That means a
Rams have
lot
a
coming from you
lot
for you
of
to say that.
dominance.
Well,
Yep.
there's two other things that Eddie's got here. Uh, although it's kind of unofficial, turnovers created 64,
Yeah. Not
and
bad.
this one, I guess official, blocked kicks 10. And what that's something, and this is obviously more in your wheelhouse because you love your contributors, but you also love your special teamers.
Yep.
And Eddie Meador was a beast on
Special teams.
yeah. So like we're not talking about somebody who was just like great on the defensive side of the ball. We're talking somebody who was great on that side. And that is something that I think I like he was never even a modern candidate. So
No, he was not. He did not become a finalist until the seniors, and he was top 12 in 2023. But this year, 2024,
mhm.
he was one of the three ones that were, the three runner-ups
2010
alongside
also.
Roger. What?
In 2010 also.
Yeah, he no, was he a finalist in 2010?
No, he was a finalist in the scene. He wasn't pushed through because it was different then, but he was in the last three. If Wikipedia is right, maybe it's not.
No, I know he was considered in 2010, but I know he wasn't the one that was one or two
No,
that
no,
were
he
chosen.
he wasn't pushed through because like back then there was only the one, but like he was in that apparently
Yeah,
that conversation. Yeah.
yeah, it's sort of weird how like Bob Kuchenberg goes from like, oh, he's one of three runner-ups to he can't even make it the top 12. Well, here Eddie Meador,
Mhm.
it's just so weird with Meador also because there's a variety of reasons why I decided to do Meador also because I actually call the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, and the woman there told me,
Because he was a beast at Arkansas Tech, no?
oh, oh yeah, like when you look at Arkansas Tech, he played with John Madden, who's in Canton, and John Wooten, who should also be in Canton, also.
Mhm.
Like they would, both of them, they would tell you how phenomenal Eddie Meador was as a player, and just how important he was for the state of Arkansas. Hell, when it comes to the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, I ask them at every single person that's from football, who's the one person that's who they want to see get inducted the most, and the woman told me straight up, Eddie Meador. Straight up, Eddie Meador was the one.
Mhm.
It wasn't, Jim Benton. It wasn't even a guy who was a finalist recently for the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame and Evan's favorite player, Kevin Williams. It, it wasn't even him. It was Eddie Meador. Everyone was saying Eddie Meador is the one that they want to see the most, and that's incredible that Eddie Meador still to this very day. Unfortunately, he died in September, which was a month after, which is gut wrenching. Like he died a month after he missed the cut, which is gut wrenching to me. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you also look at his career too. Like he's more than just a player. He is way more than just a player. Like you saw him as a guy who was ahead of the players. He was the union president for a year 69 to 70. He was
Mhm.
also named Father of the Year and Man of the Year. In other words, in
Father of
60,
the Year? There was an award called that?
Father of the Year, yeah, 1969.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've
And
never heard
one
that.
could
Does that still exist?
I don't know, it doesn't, but he won it the year in
Yeah.
1969. Like he was an amazing, he cared a lot for people. And
Yeah.
I think also the union thing is the same reason why it hurt Kyle Road, same reason why it hurt Jack Kemp. I'm gonna get to both of them. And it's the same reason why it's hurt Billy Houghton, who I've made a case for in the past. I think that might have hurt him also. And I think also him being propped up by his Rams teammates like Merlin Olsen and Deacon Jones and Roman Gabriel, I think in a way that might have hurt him also, because as much as people want to talk about testimonials, 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 at the same time, many of those same people that will talk about testimonials will also say, "Oh, you're biased. You're this. You're that." Like they ask for testimonials, and when you get your testimonials, they say it's not really legitimate or it doesn't count because it's from a teammate. You're biased. This or that.
Okay. Well, at the very least, though, he's on a radar. Now, we've seen recently with Art Powell,
Mhm.
same well, same time frame, different league because he was in the AFL. Do you think that the committee that sort of like because for those who are not aware, senior committee puts forth people, and then it's sort of like it's up to the main body of
It's three people. They put up three people
right, but they'll
for
put them
now.
up, but then it's up to sort of like the same committee that's going to decide the moderns. Have they given up on pre 1970 or pre merger players?
They act like they don't matter, which is says a lot. I think that says more about them than it does our Powell and
Sure.
Buddy
Sure.
Parker. And don't worry, I will do a case of our Powell down the road because both him and Buddy Parker got
Right, but
screwed.
is it all at this point even? I hate to say this, I really do, but are we wasting our time on pre-merger players? I don't
I don't
think
think
we are, but
no, I don't think they are, but I think for the people that make the decisions, they think it's a waste of time, which it says more about them than it does the actual
okay,
cases, though.
well,
So I don't think it's a waste of time. Um, I think for the people that have the role of getting people inducted in the Hall of Fame, if you think this stuff's a waste of time, why even be part of a committee that puts forth these people? Why even have a vote? And for the Hall of Fame itself,
yeah.
if you want to see people like that, why do you have people in your voting body that outright does not care at all about people like this?
To be fair, we don't know who thinks what and how anyone thinks. Saying that, I mean, it is something that has been on my mind. I'm a big fan of Eddie's from everything that I've read, that I've learned. I think this is a great case. Might be one of my favorites that you've done.
Yeah, very big on him.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's a good place to close. Wherever you all are, wherever you may be, make today count because it never comes again. Tally ho, gentlemen.